Right, number 46, Ringer Bells. You can see all the lovely scroll lines on there. You can see the design that you'll be able to do, either a circle of bells or a group of bells. Let's do a group of bells. So, I'm going to put my foot down and stitch my first line. So, into the bell and around. Into the bell and then down just into the bend, and that gives you, as you slide over and put your scroll line on top of what you've just sewn, stitch into the curve and then up, and that gives you the clapper at the bottom of your bell. That gives you that shape. Yes? Turn the ruler and put your scroll lines on and stitch your second bell. You can do this in numerous ways. I'll show you the different ways. In and then down into the dip. Slide it along. Put your scroll line. I'm just going to get that cotton out of the way. There we go. Right. Put your scroll line on. You see that? And then stitch down into the dip and then up into the shape of the bell, and that gives you the clapper at the bottom of your bell. Turn, put your scroll line on and stitch round into the curve and then drop it down. Just drop it down into that little curve. Line on. Got your lines going. Stitch the curve and then step up into the curve of the bell and round. It's delightful, this is. It's absolutely delightful. Whichever way you do it. I'll do one more. Put the scroll line on and bring it round. Into the curve, straight, and then dip into the line. That dip into the line gives you that just barely defined piece to give you the clap on the bell. Into the curve and then step up into the line of the bell. I'll pull this away now and you'll see what I was talking about, I hope. So we'll take that out. Now you can see we've got perfect little bells there with lovely defined clangers. I'll call them clangers, clappers, whatever you want to call them. So now, if we want to do it so that the bell is hidden behind the bell before it, so it's easier to do than say. So, stitch your first bell down into the curve and then drop. I'm going to cut that just to get it out of the way. Slide it along and put your scroll lines on. Stitch the curve and then step up into the line and round into the shape of your bell. Now then, the next bell, I'm going to do it so that it's hidden behind the top bell. So I'll do the first curve, stitch along and drop into the curl. Bring it over, put your scroll line on. Now with this one I'm going to stitch to the stitched line there. So stitch your curve and step up into the shape of your bell and stitch to the stitched line. And what that gives us is a bell that's sitting quietly behind what you've just done. Yes? So now if I put my line on, I can do exactly the same again. Put the scroll lines on there, stitch at the top and stitch your first curves down into the shape of the bell into the step and then drop into the curve. Slide it along, put your scroll line on, stitch into the curve and step up into the bell, and we're stitching to the sewn line there. And that gives us clearly defined separate bells. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that so sweet? Just beautiful. So you could go round in a complete circle and get those beautiful circle lines. Let me get it round the right way. Get those beautiful circle lines all the way around in a complete circle, or you can do it as your ring of bells there and put a bow on there. And I've got a surprise for you, but we'll put a bell on there later. There you go. Ring of bells, number 46. Enjoy.